This tutorial will show you how to do the project that we're using 1-point perspective drawing for, and the project is called Winding 1-Point Perspective. So what we'll be doing is drawing some boxes and making them go to one single vanishing point. All of these are examples of how students used the single vanishing point to draw some boxes. They came up with a theme and they colored them, and this will just give you a good idea on some areas that you could use for your ideas. So be sure you get inspired by anything you look up online. Do not copy someone else's idea. Your supplies: pencil, paper, ruler, or straight edge. You could also have markers, colored pencils, or use a digital coloring or painting app. We start off by having a floating vanishing point. Notice that we do not use a horizon line for this particular project. So just put it anywhere on your paper and go ahead and start drawing your boxes. So I'm making my sides parallel. I'm making my top and bottom parallel. And then I'm going to draw my orthogonal lines back to the vanishing point. You can make your boxes whatever size you want, like thick boxes, skinny boxes, whatever. You can also make your boxes have something to do with your theme, like I showed you in the example pictures. But for this one, I'm just going to have a regular rectangular box. And I draw a few just plain old boxes, and then I also will show you how to do a cylinder, a triangle, and a bizarro shape. So here I'm kind of speeding up the process a little bit for you. So I got my rectangle, orthogonals, and I close off the back of my box. Now that one's in line with the vanishing point, so it's not going to have a top or bottom. Here I'm drawing a triangle, and the concept is still the same. Draw the orthogonals back to the vanishing point and close off your box parallel to the opposite edge of the same plane. Here I'm doing a cylinder. So I just draw an ellipse and I close it off with an ellipse too. Now I'm doing a bizarro shape. So I just randomly just moved my ruler around, but all the rules are the same. I draw those areas back to the vanishing point, close off the back of the box parallel to the opposite edge of the same plane. Now I'm checking to see if I need to have any other orthogonals, which I don't. And here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shapes, but I need 6 shapes for this project. So I'm drawing my 6th shape onto my paper. And I'm only going to see, again, only going to see a side on this one. And don't forget, if you need to check, line up your ruler with your vanishing point, and if it's in the way, if the shape is in the way, then don't draw that orthogonal. We're going to have an object winding in and out of our perspective shapes. So I'm adding holes onto my shapes, and any plane that goes back to the vanishing point, that hole should be an ellipse, not a circle. So the planes that face you, make it a circle, and the planes that go back into space, those holes need to be an ellipse. Now I'm adding my winding element. It goes in and out of each shape, because that's required, in and out of each shape. And if you see, I drew a line first to kind of give me a guide on what I wanted to do, but feel free to change it as you go, like I am here. And I made mine thick because of what my original idea was, which I didn't end up going with. But yours can just be like a string if you want to, like a shoelace or whatever. So I'm doubling up that shape, adding some turns and some little loops and stuff, just to make it more interesting. And I ended up changing that end bit, as you can see, because I went to check all my seedlings down in my basement, and I thought, oh, I could do a hose for that winding one point perspective. So I changed my mind, made my winding thing into a hose, and all my shapes are going to be little like garden boxes that I'm sprouting plants out of for my garden. So I'm putting all my little sprouts. Here I'm doing like vining kind of pea plants, because those like to twist around and grow everywhere. And I thought that'd be fun to add on here. Have them going any which way I want to. Around the hose, whatever. So I do that to all of my boxes. You don't have to do this part. If you want to do the bare minimum, it would be 6 shapes drawn in perspective, a winding element going in, and a winding element going in and out of each one. You need to have some kind of theme though, some kind of design, like the examples I showed you. And also please come up with your own idea. Don't copy one that's already been done. So I'm drawing more vines, more little sprouts. Now I'm taking a Sharpie and I'm outlining my pencil lines. You don't have to do this. Maybe you don't have a Sharpie at home. If you just have regular old colored markers, you could do it with colored markers. You could do it with a pen. You could just take your pencil and darken in your lines to make an outline. That's fine. We're going to be coloring these with colored pencil. I realize not everybody has colored pencils at home. So if you just want to shade it using values with your drawing graphite pencil, that's totally fine too. I don't want it to stay contour line because that's not going to be enough for your final product. So there's my final in my Sharpie, and then I colored mine with colored pencils. Your first requirement for this project is to draw 6 shapes correctly to that floating vanishing point. Your second requirement is to make a winding element going in and out of every shape. The third requirement is to have a theme to your drawing. You can color or shade it with a pencil. Don't leave it as just a line. And then when you're done with everything, submit your finished drawing on Canvas, and feel free to send me a pic of your work in progress if you want me to make sure you're doing it right. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys.